These are all of LaMelo Ball's most satisfying passes in the NBA. We'll start it off with the time that LaMelo ripped a pass through the teeth of the defense with just one hand.
Dumps it to Biombo. LaMelo Ball rifles it inside.
Melo didn't even hesitate when he saw that opening. The ball touched his right hand and he just catapulted that thing all the way down to his teammate with ease. You just know he was sitting there hoping his teammate didn't ruin the highlight. And speaking of highlights, that's all that we're gonna see in this video. This next one is a perfect example of that because LaMelo makes it seem like every game is the all-star game with how he attacks fast breaks down the floor.
9 cents. LaMelo, the rip away.
You rarely ever see a fast break end with a between-the-legs alley-oop toss down the floor. But LaMelo got enough air to throw it between his legs, then still tossed it up beautifully to a trailing Miles Bridges. It's not every day you see someone pull something like this off. And these passes are just ridiculous, and it always makes you wonder how much pressure his teammates feel after knowing they gotta capitalize on his highlight reel play. The announcers even brought that point up for this Terry Rozier triple.
Terry! Gotta hit it! You get a pass!
Ball was leading the transition offense right here when he faked that pass to his left and then just wrapped it around to a bounce pass behind him. The creativity to merge a pump fake with a backwards bounce pass is a phenomenal idea, and thankfully Rozier backed it up. Unfortunately, if you're a Detroit Pistons fan, you gotta watch this superstar play street ball on your team for the second time in this video already. Dude looked like he was moving in slow motion, and yet he was still able to completely dissect the Pistons' lackluster defense on this possession.
This ball batted topside. Ball with a drive deep to Zeller for a dunk.
The pump fake to spring a defender up before cruising through multiple defenders already made it look like he was playing at the park, but that quick dish to a cutting teammate just topped it all off right at the end. The truth is, Ball doesn't seem to care if something's considered too flashy for the moment. If he sees an opening to throw out a disgusting dime, he's gonna go right ahead and do just that. Check it out here how he forces a turnover, then kickstarts a fantastic highlight reel play with a behind-the-back dish.
Oh, Trae Young poked it away, but it stays with the Hornets. Look at that pass! PJ Bridges!
If you're on defense here, there's just nothing you could have done. Melo tossed that thing backwards at just the perfect time that you'd have no chance to react. And if you didn't go after him, he was going to cruise to the lane anyways. Talk about a lose-lose situation. Now this next one perfectly describes him playing street ball in the big leagues. He dribbles a defender up into the air, cuts straight past him, then embarrasses another defender with a slick feed to a teammate who scored the easy bucket. I'm telling you, this guy just makes it look too easy out there sometimes. Everything about this play just came together perfectly too. Miami might have been winning this game handily, but you can bet that this was the play that was all over social media afterwards. In this next one, LaMelo had to bring out the inner Kevin Love in him as he tossed this basketball all the way down the court like a football to a sprinting Terry Rozier. If he would have been even the tiniest bit off on this throw, it might not have worked.
Dragic left some meat on the bone. Here we go. Hornets have a chance. Get in there. Yeah!
That thing was right on the money. Standing about as far as you could possibly stand on one side of the court, Melo tossed it across with ease to his teammate to beat the clock. And without this pass, the lead stays at 9 points. But instead, they feel good about that 7-point deficit and building some momentum. And really deep outlet passes appear to be something that Ball has improved at throughout his career in the NBA. Take a look at another spring pass that he fired out down the court, which also resulted in a really easy bucket for his teammate down there.
LaMelo, what a pass! Finds Bridges!
Yeah, that was not your casual outlet pass down the floor. It was an underhand throw that still landed exactly where it needed to go. And seriously, when was the last time you've ever seen someone in the NBA throw an underhand outlet pass like that? Whether it's underhand or not, Melo just has a gift for distributing the basketball to his teammates and doing so in a way that he makes look simple. Here he tosses an over-the-shoulder kind of pass from one corner of the floor to the other without really even breaking a sweat. He passed that thing so easily, the Pistons didn't even know how to react. Now, you'd think they'd learn by now that Melo always seems to torch them so they'd be ready for anything, but I guess they're still trying to figure that part out. Now, despite what Devin Booker has said about how you shouldn't double team in a pickup game, LaMelo took this double team and still made it seem like just that, a pickup game. Watch him split the defense like there's nobody even around him before firing a dart to a cutting teammate.
The difference. Tyler probably could have shot that ball, but the extra pass to Duncan's a much better.
For real, that pass looked like it hurt his teammate's hands, judging on the way he threw that one down there. It's almost like you could hear the ball slamming into his hands from all the way up in the stands. And with all these highlights, it was only a matter of time before another player reacted to LaMelo's play style on the court. And in this clip against the Boston Celtics, you can definitely hear the panic in someone's voice when Ball flips up an over-the-head dime to his teammate.
That's what he brings to this year's club. Bridges. Oh my God!
Did y'all catch that in the background? The second Ball tossed it up into the air, you can hear somebody down there yell, "Oh!" Whoever that was knew right away they were about to find themselves on the wrong end of a highlight play. But, at this point, you'd think people would try and defend the back when spotting up LaMelo, with how many times he beats people with behind-the-back passes. Here he adds to that total on Giannis Antetokounmpo and Chris Middleton when they attempted to snag a loose ball.
LaMelo taps it away from Giannis, and we got another dunk. Mason Plumlee!
The tip over Giannis's head, followed by that behind-the-back pass, was gorgeous. LaMelo's out here taking on two NBA champions and sprinting around them like it's nobody's business. Sometimes there's even plays where you can't tell where Ball puts the basketball. Just like this play against the Pistons, and yes, of course, LaMelo is putting together another highlight play against Detroit. I swear it's like he's got a hatred for this team already. He was literally tangled up by like two different defenders and somehow pops the ball out of his hands to the only Hornet who could have even touched it in the vicinity of him. Even when you slow this play down, you get lost with how he did that so smoothly. And speaking of smooth, I want you all to feast your eyes upon the time LaMelo took on 3 of the Oklahoma City Thunder players and still found a way to generate offense for his team. One of the guys didn't even try to help, he just watched in awe like the rest of us. The aggressive drive didn't open as many doors as it would have seemed on the surface, but he still found a teammate right where they needed to be and at the perfect time too. Now, remember when we showed you all that between-the-legs pass in the air that he tossed up, which ended up being an alley-oop to Bridges? Well, you might get a little deja vu on this one because he found a way to do the same thing here, but this time to Montrezl Harrell.
Right here. What vision. Perfect. To the races. What do you got? Yeah!
It's like you just know something flashy is about to happen every single time Ball gets space out there in the open court. All you can really do is sit back and watch. And there's really not much you can do against LaMelo when he has numbers because of plays like that. Even in situations where he's driving towards the rim with a defender in front, he's got so many different moves to beat you, it's just insane. Now here's a perfect example against the Atlanta Hawks.
Bridges. LaMelo behind the back.
Despite the guy in front of the rim, Ball drove straight at him before flipping it behind his back at that last second to generate enough space for an easy bucket. Had he not been as aggressive on this play, it probably would have been snuffed out a little easier. Now, when I first watched this next one, I actually lost where the ball went, and then I didn't know how it got there when I found it again. Ball fired a pass that looked so unintentional that you genuinely thought the man just lost it out of bounds, something that's happened to so many other players. Instead, what you got was a wonderful dish to a teammate on the baseline. It was like one dribble off his drive and the ball was already flipped over to him. It's almost like a sleight of hand trick at first glance. And I swear Melo's just out there teasing his opponents when the ball's in his hand sometimes. When he gets this pass in transition, he could easily just go up for 2 points. He chose not to though and did this.
Movement here because these young guys get easy buckets. How about that?
The way he held it up over his head for a second makes it seem like he was just taunting the guy behind him to get closer before being like, nope, and tossing it straight over for an alley-oop. And seriously, if this video's proven anything, it's that the last thing that LaMelo needs to be given is space. And here, the New Orleans Pelicans gave him a little too much of that. He definitely made them pay with the way he reacted after that. That pass was launched in between multiple players on the court and found exactly who it was intended to find. Mind you, this was not an easy pass to make at all. And neither was this last one, but it's pretty much the same story for him at this point. Another opportunity where he could have scored a layup, but he passes it up because he wants to get his teammates involved. With a guy trailing him, Ball touches that ball with one outstretched arm before getting rid of it right away. It doesn't matter if LaMelo's in the air or on the ground, he's an equally large threat when it comes to his vision. Hey, check out the video that's on your screen now to see the times LaMelo Ball played street ball in the NBA.